Travel Lifestyle TV. For all you guys in the audience who would have remembered this famous park in Jamaica called
Caymanas
Park.
it was a racetrack.
Yeah, that's a call to order, by the way. And in the last segment, Monty, we're talking about your arrival here in the United States and the folks you're running into.
Sure. Two things that just came to my mind that kept me remembering Jamaica, and part of it, okay, I mentioned boxing just now. Well, my father took me to one of the most exciting things other than music. He took me to Sabina Park, and I became a fan of boxing. I must have been from 12 years old, and I would see our then heavyweight champion of Jamaica, Gerald Gray.
Okay.
And once I went, and the great Sugar Ray Robinson gave an exhibition at Sabina Park, and those lights were shining down on the ring in the middle of where people play cricket, which I'd been to Manning's Cup, football, and all the other things. So it got in my blood, boxing. So when I came to Miami, I was also a few blocks away from an auditorium that every Wednesday had the fights. So I would just go into the auditorium, buy my ticket, and sit there and watch all the preliminaries and all the fights. And occasionally there would be Jamaican, there was I'm trying to remember his name, but he was a formidable, fine Jamaican boxer, tall, distinguished looking chap. And I remember seeing him there one night, dressed in a great pinstripe suit, and he was standing with his very good friend. And he was also a very well-dressed gentleman. And they were out in the foyer. And I went up to this boxer, Jamaican, I'll get his name. And I said, man, I'm from Jamaica, you know, and I saw you fight at Sabina Park, and it's great to meet you. And he said, yeah, man, it was nice. And I met him. And the other gentleman was standing next to him, and I just, hello, and he just kind of waved. So I went back into the arena, which was the Miami Beach Auditorium. Yeah. And before the next bout, I'm sitting behind two sort of elderly gentlemen, one guy smoking a cigar, and the other saying, hey, Marvin, you see those two fighters coming in there right now? And he said, yeah, Joe. He says, well, that I'm looking and I see my friend, the Jamaican fighter. He says, he's got a big mouth and I want somebody to knock him down and, straighten him out. He was not pointing to this gentleman. He was pointing to the other fella. It was Cassius Clay. This is the first time I see Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali. And then I found out where the gym was, and I started going to the 5th Street gym where he was training. This is before Sonny Liston. So I really got in on the whole boxing phenomena as a fan, just strictly as a fan.
And you're still a fan today?
I'm still a fan. I still keep up. I still watch it, the new guys that come along. And we had quite a scene. I mean, don't forget, at Stadium is where George Foreman kind of did a thing to Joe Frazier, you know. So boxing is one of my hobbies. And but the music is number one.
Well, you mentioned hobbies now. For relaxation outside of music, what is it?
Well, I go to certain things I enjoy doing. I mean, I try to do a little drawing and painting for escape.
By the way, somebody told me that you can speak a little Italian. I wonder why.
No, well, okay.
I wonder why.
Well, okay. Well, I met a very nice young lady.
Come on, we can't hear you, man. We can't hear you.
But I'm getting red now.
Yeah, we noticed.
And met this very wonderful young lady in a place called New York City, and she was from Rome, Italy.
No, I'm on leave from all the way Kingston. Come New York, I meet a young lady from Rome.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
And,
we just follow.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history. How long have you been married now?
Oh, about 12, 13 years. 12, 13
How has it been?
It was an adventure.
Because somebody said, boy, you seem to be getting younger and younger every year. They're trying to figure, say, it's not just the mouth organ and the piano alone. Must be other factors.
Huh? It's the attitude.
It's the attitude. well, that's good. That's
truthfully,
good.
I am grateful for things. When the blues come, you just take the baseball bat and hit it out the park and just straight ahead. And that's what it's about. Good. But I wanted to tell you a nice thing that happened to me when I was playing in this bar in Florida, where all kinds of night creatures of different vibe, even some dangerous type characters. And I'm playing in this one place, and lo and behold, Frank Sinatra comes in with friends.
Yes.
And he and his gathering of friends noticed me playing, and I must have been putting it on pretty good at that time, because they approached me and invited me to come to New York, which is how I came
And
here.
that's the relationship there with them.
That's how it began. And I met them again in Las Vegas. And this is about early 63. And they gave me an airline ticket, and I was, because everything about my stuff is no plan. You know, it happens, it happens, and it's just, thank God.
Working with Frank, how was that?
Well, I never worked with him, but I played in a club called Jilly's, where his very best friend, this man Jilly Rizzo, would operate the club. And whenever Sinatra was in New York, he'd be there. And many an occasion, I was there playing at events, and a few times, very few, I actually accompanied him. But I was around him and his, call it, very positive influence, and no doubt. And while I was playing at Jilly's, I met all these great musicians, including Miles Davis, who I got to know very well. Count Basie would come in there, and movie people. Johnny Carson, that was on television, he'd be there, these people hanging out with one another. And I was in the midst of that kind of crowd. And the sad thing at the time was no Jamaicans. If I saw anybody from home, what? It was great, you know, but it was so on another turf. And it was 1963, you know. So I'm sort of fitting in with the American experience. And little by little, I would run into people, some old school chums, or I'd go and see the new movie, The Harder They Come, and Dr. No had just come out a year before, and I was homesick because I'd go Dr. No about 12 times to see Byron Lee playing at the Copa, or to see all the other people that were in that movie.
The Jamaican sceneries.
The Jamaican sceneries.
Let me ask you, looking back at your illustrious career, what would you view as you have several, well, give me several highlights that you know, that stands out. You know, this was epiphany that hits you. You
know, that question, the only answer I have is to say that every night I get through playing, and if I played well, and if my effort was successful for myself and my brother musicians, and it went to it reached out to the people in a way where they received that kind of satisfaction, where everybody was grooving, you know. That's the best thing that can happen for me. More important than meeting important people, or you know, I remember playing at Air Jamaica last year.
Yes.
20,000 people out there listening to me play the piano.
You know, I want to back up on that, because, you know, if it is one time when I'd say that I truly realized how you have managed to, I would say, merge the genres and allowed youngsters to become interested and fixed, is what you did at Air Jamaica Jazz and Blues Fest 2 years ago.
It was 1 year ago.
1 year,
the last
the last year, right? And that was to bring in the new stuff. Tell us about that, because, you know, we had people like an artist in Jamaica, and I know we run out of time. We're gonna come back to this. Artists we had you were to do his function recently, and his name eludes me now. Tony Rebel.
Tony Rebel, yes.
Tell us how that whole piece came about.
Some people call me Tony Rebel. I'm just here having a vibe at Jazz Fest. I was invited on stage by Monty Alexander, did a little cameo appearance, and yeah, that's it. Nice.
Glenn Brownie, the bassist, Desmond Jones, you know, and I know about Chalice, and what they do when it comes to laying down a rhythm like nobody in the world can do it. That's our Jamaica. Sly Dunbar is a man I've come to know very well, who is just a natural, easygoing, and I go and we would record it together. So there's a value based on my Jamaican experience that is as high as when I'm rubbing shoulders with some of the great jazzmen, because their greatness is that. Jamaica's greatness is another kind of greatness. And because I have one foot in the American world and the other foot in the yard, frankly speaking, I just walking down the road with my life as a Jamaican who is also an American. The piano is my passport. And somehow it's a personal pleasure of mine to bring the music together, but more important is to bring the people together. And I see it happening with the musicians, because I love each one more than the other.